Do you like it when somebody calls you and says, "Hey, Matt, do you want to buy my, coconut monkey?"
Did I go to a coconut monkey open house? Is my question.
No, I'm not saying when somebody has given me their information.
Okay.
Not saying anything like that.
Did I express interest in coconut monkeys?
You never did.
Ooh,
you never expressed any interest in any coconut monkey. It's just that you might have bought a coconut monkey before, and I'm calling to see if you want to sell your coconut monkey. But the only reason I know that you own a coconut monkey is because you're on a list.
How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Shawn and Matt Show. My name is Matt, that is Shawn, and welcome to our show. Shawn, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about vacation fractional real estate investing. And no, it's not a timeshare. It is fractional investing into a vacation rental. We're going to be talking about a cold calling lawsuit against real estate agents that is making its way through the circuit courts. And then we're also going to be talking about a Frank Lloyd Wright, FLW house in California that is selling for a very high price, and our thoughts on that. So let's start with vacation rentals. You've mentioned vacation rentals recently that you're going to buy one, possibly two. I would love to. That's the plan. Now, and I want to go all out, buy it myself. But, and I'm thinking two over the next 5 years. That's what my plan is. Just in different spots, one, and these aren't going to be that I'm not going to rent them out. I will rent them out because I have to be able to afford it. Mm-hmm. Right. But the plan would be, somewhere close where we can drive to one of them, and then somewhere warm where we can fly to another. So would you want to get the one that's closer to you first? Is that what I'm hearing? That's probably the plan. I'll watch the markets to see how they're performing in the Eastern Shore here, and then the Florida shores to see, when I'm ready to pull the trigger, which one's performing. But it'll probably be the closer one because we want to be able to drive while our family's young as well. We have young kids, and we don't want to have to put them on an airplane every so often, right? So. And then the use case of that would be you hang out there on the summer on the weekends, and then you would rent it out. I would probably rent it out most of the time during the summer. The income producing months on this, the one that would be here would be from late May and through end of August, early September would be those times. We'd probably take a week or 2 weeks during that time frame, and then rent it as far as we could. But then that is what is going to produce most of your income to cover you for the whole year. And are you thinking you'd get like a property manager or something like that? Yeah, definitely a property manager. So I just hire somebody down there to do it so they can deal with the cleaning and everything like that. And so then after that main portion, then you have 6-8 months out of the year that you could use it on your own, because you're earning most of that income during those high months. So then, we could just go and spend a week down there when it's cooler, October time frame. I could work down there. We could spend Christmas there, whatever, something different. And then the Florida one, the plan is kind of the same, but in the winter to escape, right? Somewhere to escape a week to a month, whatever, however we can, to escape the cold, because I can't stand it. Yeah, you are not alone. Mm-hmm. Well, you touched on it earlier, and you said, the high seasons from May to August and, maybe early September is where you make all of your money, and you could almost like pay for the whole mortgage for the year in the course of 2 months or 3 months if you do it right, because vacation rentals are some of the highest producing assets when it comes to returns that we've seen recently. And, if you're looking to buy a rental property, your cash on cash returns are probably going to be like 6%, 7%, maybe 10% if you hit the jackpot. But for vacation rentals, we're looking at cash on cash returns of, possibly 20%, 30%, and even higher than that. And if you don't want to have to deal with the property manager or buy the property or have to fix the toilets or spend $500,000, to buy the property, there is a new service called here.co where you can essentially invest in a vacation rental property, and you're investing in the dividends, right? In the money that the property is making. So if Shawn were to buy a house in, I'm just going to think of the first beach I can think of, Rehoboth Beach. I'm not buying a weekend in the house. I am paying Shawn. Shawn's buying the house, and then Shawn's giving me money every single quarter as a return. I'm essentially an investor into the vacation rental. I don't do any of the market research. I don't do any of the cleaning. I don't do any of the vacationing, but that's not what this is about. This use case is about the investment side. All I do is I hopefully collect a small check, or I see a small direct deposit in my account, maybe a large direct deposit in my account every quarter. Shawn, what are your thoughts on this whole hands-off fractional real estate investing approach?
I love it. I love the idea. I love the concept. And the other thing that they talk about, it's just like the stock market. You're investing in a stock, right? But what they're saying is it's a lot less volatile, right? It's a lot safer than the stock market because, we've seen how ups and downs, granted, we've seen ups and downs in the housing market as well, but it's a lot more stable. So the fact that it's a tangible asset that you can see, right? You can see, where it is. And there's a lot of these fractional investment companies out there, and all of them work in a little bit different way. And some of them you can purchase, I want to go in on this house and this house and this house. Or some of them are just, broader than that, right? Which I love. I love the idea. I love the concept. And I think that it's going to grow, and it's going to grow exponentially. Another
big one is Picasso. And that one is more like you're buying 1/8 of the property. Yeah. So I hate to use the T word, the timeshare word, because I know that there are differences. So I won't.
And I'm not an expert on timeshare, but the one commercial I see a lot on TV is trying to get people out of the timeshares, And I think the one downside of timeshares is like there's these big, huge companies like Wyndham, right? And Wyndham controls the whole thing. And the one downside to that whole side of things is there's fees on top of it that are always going. You have your monthly or yearly fees that you've got to pay into it. Whereas this, it's an investment. Here's your investment, boom,
Yeah.
And I guess they're taking the profits, and the one thing that I have questions about is like maintenance and things like that, or what if it needs a new roof, and what, how does that all work in? So I'm assuming that part of that dividend, right, is put into a pot that is then used to maintain the properties. Mm-hmm. So there's got to be something like that that's in there, and hopefully the money that you're putting in and the dividends you're getting are safe of anything where they could call you, hey, sorry, man, we're going to need some more investment for this, right?
Right. And it looks like they're just getting started. They plan to launch 1 to 2 properties per month moving forward in top destination markets across the United States. So, certainly in the endeavor, but they have a lot of funding, and eventually you're going to be able to sell your shares. Or if I don't know what will happen when the property goes to sell. At some point, they're going to sell these properties, and then you would get the price appreciation as well, which is also a big point. And yeah, this one here.co, definitely not a timeshare. It's just like, all right, I have $1,000. Do I want to put it in the stock market and watch that go down, or do I want to put it in a rental property and have people like rent a beach house? Or a cabin?
It's going to rent. It's going to rent. Except what we went through the last 2 years, which was a weird phenomenon. But now you see that rental property just spike. All of those. Everybody wants to go on vacation, so there's fury to go on vacation. They're getting higher prices. I want to just say that here.co is one of many of these new fractional ownerships that are out there. And there was a few that caught my attention. One in this article, and I can't remember the names of these, but I just wanted to kind of go over the different ways. So one of the companies divides the home into 10,000 different shares. So you could actually put $5 into it, right? So it's pretty crazy where it gets down to the nitty gritty. And a lot of these are investing in the smaller priced homes between $100,000 to $350,000. And then there was another one where you could put in $10,000 and it's X percent of the price of the home. Say it's 10% of the price. That means you can either use your time there, like almost like a timeshare for 10% of the time, or you can take the money, which is a really neat concept.
Yeah, all these different hybrid models popping up. Yeah. I'm waiting for the Shawn Battle hybrid model to pop up. I can stay at Ocean City.
Oh, you could stay for free, my friend.
I guess it beats the days in, huh?
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to our second topic. This comes to us from Inman.com. Coldwell Banker agent cold call suit heads to trial as a class action. Shawn, homeowner plaintiffs allege Realty uses its corporate structure to profit from and escape liability for letting its agents violate the law through incessant, unwanted telemarketing calls. I can just feel the air just being depleted from your soul as I'm talking about cold calling. And essentially, the long and the short of it is a couple different homeowners got unwanted and consistent phone calls from Coldwell Banker agent, and this could be any company, but Coldwell Banker agents, and I believe they were on the do not call list. And what the home sellers are saying is that, hey, these agents with this company are encouraging their agents to use robo dialers, essentially like Mojo, or there's another one like Red X or something like that, to make basically 300 calls a day, where it's still a person that's picking up the phone. But yeah, I've seen people on Instagram like, oh, hustle, I'm hustling, I'm cold calling all these people on the do not call list, I'm a hustler. They cold call people and then they hang up, and like with one click you're like back on the phone, as opposed to like hang up, let me dial 703 every single time. It just has thousands of numbers on the screen with a phone number and with a name and an address, and then they call. So calling 300 people a day might get you in some hot water. Shawn, what are your thoughts on what is now a class action lawsuit against Realty?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. Number one, how many cold calls have I made in my career?
It's got to be more than one.
It's zero.
You've called someone.
I have
before.
never cold called somebody and said, "Hey, do you want to sell your house?"
Okay.
Right? I've never done that. I think it's a lame. All right. The reason I've never done that is because, do you like it when somebody calls you and says, "Hey, Matt, do you want to buy my coconut monkey?"
Did I go to a coconut monkey open house? Is my question.
No, I'm not saying when somebody has given me their information.
Okay,
did I express
interest in coconut monkeys?
You never did.
Ooh,
you never expressed any interest in any coconut monkey. It's just that you might have bought a coconut monkey before, and I'm calling to see if you want to sell your coconut monkey. But the only reason I know that you own a coconut monkey is because you're on a list.
Okay.
Right.
I might be out on coconut monkeys if I didn't express interest in it.
My thought is like, why are you calling thousands of people when most of them are not going to sell?
Because it works.
It does. Okay, it does. But I'm not going to be that annoying person that's doing it. I don't care. Go ahead. You can talk to anybody out there that says, "Oh, cold calling works, and this is how many I've done. I've done 1 million, and I've seen the guy on Instagram that's called 1 million people and whatever." I don't care. I'm not going to cold call somebody because I'm not that annoying person. I don't care if you've got your script down. I don't care anything about that. That's not my game. It might be yours. Good for you, right? I get cold calls all the time, every day. I'm called by a number, and thankfully the iPhone says, this is probably spam. And I just press the red button. But occasionally they get me because it's an Arlington number, and I'm like, okay, maybe this is somebody that actually wants to talk to me about real estate. And I pick up the phone, and who is it? And I know as soon as there's a delay, I hang up. Or if you hear like a little beep, or a little piece of music, you know what it is. So I instantly hang up. So if you call me and I hang up on you, that's why I apologize in advance if it takes you a little bit of time to say something. But that's why I hang up, because I cannot stand to get somebody on the phone that I have no interest in talking to. And yes, I know this stuff works, but I'm not going to be that annoying person. That's just my take on it.
The worst is when you get like 4 cold calls in a row, and then like the 5th call is like a client. Mm-hmm. And so by the time you're like, hello? Hello.
Oh my God. There's so many times.
Because you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to go off on this person.
I do it all the time. And I'm like, hello? And I'm like, oh my God. Oh, I'm sorry. And I have to explain to them, like, listen, you got to understand, like, my phone rings off the hook and I'm just tired of getting these phone calls.
How about the lenders that call you, but it's like, oh, this is Patricia. Do I have Shawn Battle? And you're like, yeah. I'm like, okay, well, I'm Patricia with John Smith Mortgage Company. Have you heard of John Smith? You're like, sure. Like,
get
what?
To the point.
Like, do you have an offer for me? Yeah. Like, are you calling about it? And they're like, oh, well, John thinks you've been doing a great job and would love to set up time to like have coffee with you at Cozy next week. I'm like, well, why didn't John call?
Yeah.
Like, if John's so awesome, like, why didn't he call? And like, I've never heard of John before. So like, who are you and why are you cold calling me about this?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's why I don't do that. And yes, okay, it works. It works for some people, but us that get the calls all the time, I'm not going to do something that I hate, right? I hate getting the call. I'm not going to do it to somebody else. That's like if I walk into a clothes store and somebody's like, hey, can I help you find something? Why don't I show you this? Look at this shirt. Look at this shirt. Look at these shorts. Stop it. I came to look for myself. You don't have to point out the things, right? And so that's how I treat people in an open house. I'm like, hey, listen, I'll give you the specifics and then you go look, right? I'm not going to be walking behind you and annoying you. And hey, there's people for every people, right? I mean, that's the thing, but I'm not going to be it. The other thing that I want to talk about with this is in that article, they were specifying that they were alleging that Coldwell Banker was, in the Realty platform, they were basically pushing values higher or making people pay more money for the house because they had control of all these listings in the area because of their cold calling. I was like, that is such a reach. How often do you talk to people in our office and say, hey, let's price these higher to keep the prices higher? It doesn't happen. We are all independent contractors doing our own business and on our own. And a lot of these people that are cold calling have their own systems. You got to understand that Coldwell Banker probably doesn't supply them that system for the most part. You can go and buy it from some sales company and that markets to real estate agents and says, hey, I've got this great cold calling thing. Okay, cool. Let's do it. Coldwell Banker has no idea that he's doing that. They don't for the most part, right? Until they get a complaint about it. Should they know about it? Yeah, probably. But there's a lot of things that the individual agents are doing on their own that the big mother company is not going to know. So going after the big company is one thing, but to say that there are, price fixes or, hey, they're trying to get a higher price, there's none of that goes on that I know of that I've ever seen in my 19 years.
So referencing the paragraph that Shawn is talking about, the plaintiffs allege that Realty's motivation is allowing its affiliate agents to violate the TCPA, the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, to grow its market share of listings, at least in part to use its market power to raise prices on homes it has for sale, since fewer competing listings can undercut the real estate brokerage with the lower prices.
I mean, that's absurd to me. I mean, we know how many brokerages are out there, right? And maybe in these little towns, but they're talking California. I mean, were referencing...
That's such a stretch. They're basically saying they grow their market share and then they list properties and then prices are higher because they have more homes and it's hard to price it below those high properties.
Right. That's ridiculous. Why am I overpricing a home? I'm going to price it at market. I want it to sell. That's how I make money, is when it sells, not when I overprice it.
So that doesn't pass the smell test, but to give the plaintiffs credit, here is what they say Realty defendants have failed to do. And you can let me know your opinion on this. So 3 things. They have failed to adopt sufficient procedures to ensure their agents do not call potential consumers who are on the do not call registry. They have failed to maintain an adequate and up-to-date company-specific do not call list. And they have failed to prohibit their agents from illegally using artificial or pre-recorded messages.
That could be true.
Like those are okay. That
absolutely.
Could,
and so if anybody's cold calling, there should be. I mean, they're getting lists, right? And those lists, whoever they're getting from, should be a list of people that are not on the do not call list, right? So I guarantee you, they're buying these lists from somebody, and the lawsuit should then go back to the list provider, in my opinion, right? Because we're paying for this service. And so who is not doing their job? Is it Coldwell Banker? Maybe. Or is it the list provider? That's probably the biggest, where it all comes from. So blaming it on one person, that's fine. Again, cold calling and these monster cold calls where they're like, calling 300 people at one time, and whoever answers, you take the call. It's sickening. And the other thing is these pre-recorded messages. And this is another thing that they were complaining about. And I get them every time. And it's the same stupid thing. A lot of times it's like, I look at my...
I get the text messages. I get those. Hey, I'm Larry on some database. It's like, hey, Larry, are you still thinking about selling your house in Pennsylvania? It's like everything's wrong. But if I'm getting those messages, other people are too.
Yeah, I still get them on my old house from real estate companies. I'm like, I sold that place. Why are you sending me that? But, I get the robocall from spam, or you get the call and it automatically just stops and goes right into your voicemail. Right. And it drives me crazy. And it's always the same. Your Rob score for your company. Do you want a $500,000 loan? You qualify for it. No, I don't want the damn loan. I would go get it from my bank if I needed a loan. But it's just constant. And how do you stop it? Right.
So the plaintiffs are saying, hey, Realty, these are your people and you're failing to do these things. Realty is like, whoa. These are just independent contractors. And they're like, what are you talking about? You've done none of these measures. By the way, they're suing Realty. And shouldn't they be suing, what is it, Anywhere? Because Realty changed their name.
Yeah.
So they're just playing this like, all right, I'm going to sue Coldwell Banker, which is inside of Realty, which has now changed their name to Anywhere Real Estate.
Well, that was also in the complaint that they're like shadow companies of these companies. So you're going after this one, which is actually this one, but then you just changed their name to Anywhere. And then, so that's part of their complaint as well, is like, how do we actually get to the root of the cause, or the root of the person that's actually causing this? I don't know.
In addition, not the only class action lawsuit Realty is fighting. The company is also defendant in one of two multi-billion-dollar federal commission lawsuits.
Wow.
So, game on.
Not fun.
Okay, let's move on to our third topic. This comes to us from Architectural Digest. This is a Frank Lloyd Wright designed home for sale in America's priciest zip code. Shawn, if you had said, and I think you were the one that brought this article to my attention, America's priciest zip code, you know what I thought of? I thought of Palm Beach. I thought Palm Beach, Florida, those houses, that would have been the priciest zip code. It is not. It is in California. It is in Atherton. That took me a second. Think San Mateo, think Menlo Park, Stanford, Facebook. This is a $8 million house, the Arthur Matthews House, 1940 square feet, under 2,000 square feet. It is currently listed for a cool $8 million, not even $799, just $8 million. 3 beds, 2 baths. Shawn, I'm looking at this. It looks like a museum. It doesn't look like a house, doesn't look like a residence. Usonian. That's a thing?
So I looked it up. So basically, Frank Lloyd Wright over his career did about 1,000 different home designs or homes that he designed. The Usonian type of home is about 60 of them of what he's done, and those were aimed towards the middle class. So they were smaller homes, more efficient, simple designs, but like they were for a lower price points. And
it's ironic.
Yeah, right. I know. Lower price points is now $8 million.
Lower price points, $8 million.
1,940 square feet, which equates to about $4,000 a square foot. But at this point, you're buying a work of art. That's what this is, right? It's not just a home. It's almost like, do you want to live in this, or are you buying something to put on your wall, basically, right? I mean, there's houses and then there's works of art, and anything Frank Lloyd Wright is a work of art. And I guess one of the most famous ones that he's done is Falling Water, which I have yet to go to, which is ridiculous.
Mr. Pennsylvania.
I know. I drive by it. It's like, oh, Falling Water is 8 miles down the road. Zoom right. You're by like, nah. Every single time I have to go.
Wow.
I've always been a fan of the mid-century modern style. I used to own a mid-century modern home. I loved it.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
What do you like about the mid-century modern?
I like the styling of it. It's just a neat, different look. Whereas, it's not always square rooms, or it's an open feel, right? An open concept. Now, this one might not feel, well, it's an open concept. They're usually different kind of lines. You remember my old house. It was nice and open on the top level. Yeah. It just had some cool feel to it. Now, What I'll say is that once you live in a mid-century modern home, it's a little bit different, right?
The new buyer might be watching.
Hey, it's all right, man. She owns it now. She's seen a lot of increase in her value, so she should be happy. But the thing is, it's a lot of times very inefficient in storage space. That's what I found. That being said, that every portion of my last house was pretty much finished, but there was a lot of closets missing, or, you think about homes that were built in that time frame, there weren't huge closets. I don't know about these particular homes, but I still love the look of them. I lived in one. I don't need another one right now. I kind of like...
You like having an upstairs?
Yeah. The Craftsman. Yeah, and that's another thing.
You like having more than 2 levels?
I definitely do. Yeah, having the 3-4 level home that I have now, compared to the 2 level I had before. And honestly, I lived on the main level and there was a basement, and the basement was fully finished, but we lived basically on one level. It was probably 1,800 square feet on one level. But I mean, they're beautiful. And the mid-century modern kick just went into full steam in the last 2 years as well. Whereas they're hard to find. They're harder to find. And most people are, excuse me, most builders aren't going to do this anymore because they're going on a price per square foot basis, right? So they're going to make these big Craftsman homes getting the most for their dollar. Whereas these were built in a time where it wasn't about that. It was about building a piece of artwork, right? It was building something that was very cool and stylistic, that has kind of gone by the wayside unless you're doing a one-off property, right? You're doing a super custom home, which a lot of people do, but it's so expensive to do. And that's why, your builders in this area, we're never going to do that. They're going for profits. I think as a piece of art, as artwork, this is a steal for $8 million. Because let's be honest, I think I might have been quoted by saying like a $500,000 NFT was like a steal. So like I can appreciate as a piece of art, $8 million, absolute steal. I agree. As a house that you would live in, I haven't even found the coat closet. As a house, before I say my next line, like I think I need to read like a biography of Frank Lloyd Wright. Yeah. I think I need to read like architecture books to like fully appreciate this, because I don't think I could ever live here. This house just doesn't do it for me. Yeah. Not my style, not my taste. Again, as a piece of art, it's cool, but I'm much more functional, which is why it took me like 25 years of my life to like get into art. And I'm not into art, but just to appreciate, I think I need to do more research, because I've never been to Falling Water. I'd love to go. But every time a Frank Lloyd Wright house comes on the market, it's like, whoa, stop the presses. Frank Lloyd Wright. Like we gotta talk about this one. And $8 million. This is in a neighborhood that has $20 million houses and $10 million and $15 million houses. So cool piece of art, but to me, it's like an $8 million museum. I'm not on the Frank Lloyd Wright hype train. Well, that's exactly what it is. And if you've ever gone into a mid-century modern home where everything is mid-century modern, like the tables and everything, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not efficient, right? Yeah. It's very sparse, and you can't have anything laying around, right? I mean, it's got to look perfect all the time, or else it just looks horrible. Is it faux pas to say that I don't like Frank Lloyd Wright houses? No, I mean, you have your own, you have your own thought of what you like, right? I mean, these are cool in design, but when you almost have to, like this shot here, right, that we're looking at, you can't have a Pottery Barn couch in a Frank Lloyd Wright house, right? It just doesn't work. You have to have mid-century modern furniture in a mid-century modern home to make it look right. It's very, I can't think of the word, sparse, right? Yeah. I mean, this is maybe the only room that I like, because I love the California indoor-outdoor living. Absolutely love it. The floor to ceiling, glass, absolutely love it. But then I'm just thinking, okay, well, what's my lifestyle? Let me put a couch against the wall and like a flat screen TV. That doesn't work. Did you see a TV in there at all? I haven't found one yet. See, I don't think this is a TV house. I don't think you have a TV here. It's art. It's an artwork. Art. And that's the thing is, like, you're buying art, in my opinion. How can you live like that? You can't, right? And it's just like staging a home, right? Staging a home for sale. You don't live like that. But this is almost like you have to, right? But it is on an acre plot of land, is from what I hear.
By the way, 19 photos. You're selling a house for $8 million. What are you, two photos for every million? Yeah. Maybe have more than 19 photos. Yeah. Or did we just see the whole house in 19 photos because it's so small?
That's all that they can do.
That's all you can do.
Or maybe it's just using bait, right? Here's 19, but we got so much more. Come on.
Yeah, it's like, oh, whoa, you wanted to see more? Well, set up a showing.
Yeah.
I mean, looks like a good plot of land, but like the first photo.
Is that a pool in the backyard too?
No, yeah.
Like there's no shot of the pool. It's only a corner of the pool.
Like, come on. If you want to see the whole pool, you gotta come see the house to see more. But the first photo, it's like, this looks like a elementary school with like a blacktop and like a cafeteria.
Yeah, what is that? What, like, where are we on that? Is this a huge driveway to park?
No, it's just like a quiet street. Well, yeah, and it's a driveway.
Yeah.
It's a massive concrete driveway.
Let's schedule a tour. Let's see what happens.
All right. Should you send your financial information, or should I? Which one of us?
You qualify.
I qualify better. Okay. Yeah. My debt to income for $8 million is working.
Well, I think we're
Chase Sapphire Reserve. None of this, platinum baloney. Okay. Well, I think we are rambling, which means that it is time to wrap it up. Yeah. If you're interested in the Frank Lloyd Wright house, definitely let us know in the comment section below. I'd love to know if there's any other people out there that don't get hyped for Frank Lloyd Wright, that aren't interested, that see it and kind of roll their eyes, because I'm not a fan. But again, I'm trying more and more not to hate on things until I learn more about it. Not to just be like, I don't like it. Just to like be like, all right, well, let me educate myself about this before I just start slandering it.
And that's exactly me too. I mean, like with these new, like the NFT stuff, right? I'm like, let's educate ourselves. So, my generation and the old school stuff, your generation and the new school stuff. I mean, it's, just education. That's all it is, man. Open mind.
All right, guys, that'll just about do it for us. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit 5 stars on your favorite podcast player, wherever you are listening. And until next time, we'll see you then.
Take care.